Hollywood's Spec script revival. 8 major deals signal return to original storytelling. After years of hearing IP only from studio executives, screenwriters might want to pay attention to what's happening this August. With 8 Spec deals closing this month alone, the highest monthly total since March 2017, there's genuine reason to believe we're witnessing the early signs of a Spec script renaissance. The context is staggering. The entire year of 2023 saw just 11 Spec deals total. Industry veteran Scott Myers, who's been tracking Spec sales since 1991, notes this dramatic shift from the golden era of the 90s, when Hollywood averaged 12 to 13 deals per month, to recent years, where the market crawled along at just 1 to 2 monthly sales. But 2025 is already challenging expectations with 19 total deals so far, surpassing last year's numbers at the same point. For writers who've been collecting passes and subsisting on ramen, as anyone who's tried to break into this business knows the routine, these numbers represent more than statistical curiosities. They signal a fundamental market shift. August's heavy hitters. This month's deals showcase the kind of diversity that suggests studios are opening their wallets for compelling original stories across genres. With the 8th pick landed at Warner Brothers, bringing the behind-the-scenes drama of Kobe Bryant's 1996 NBA draft to the big screen. Described as The Social Network meets Air. The project from Alex Sohn and Gavin Johansson focuses on the high-stakes world of basketball drafting. The narrative centers on New Jersey Nets general manager John Nash and incoming coach John Calipari, who desperately wanted to draft Bryant with the 8th pick, but faced financial constraints and Bryant's clear preference for the Lakers. Bald Eagles from Brandon Cohen sparked a preemptive 7-figure deal at Paramount. The R-rated high-concept workplace comedy represents the kind of original material that could become one of the most significant Spec sales of the year, according to industry insiders. Cohen's journey is particularly compelling. Just 5 years ago, he was writing for Disney Channel's Just Roll With It, and recently faced personal challenges when his twins were born extremely prematurely. During that difficult period, he channeled his energy into writing comedies, producing 2 Spec scripts. The Pirate sailed to Amazon MGM with Jason Momoa attached to produce and potentially star. Writer Will Dunn's hot Spec script is being described as the raid set on a pirate ship, a high-concept action premise that's exactly the kind of original material studios are suddenly hungry for again. Incidents from William Gillies ignited an 11-studio bidding war before Searchlight Pictures emerged victorious. The psychological thriller follows a woman who escapes an attempted abduction and vows to hunt down her kidnapper. Gillies, whose debut feature Hallow Road premiered to rave reviews at South by Southwest 2025, represents the new generation of writers breaking through. The survival list went to Lionsgate with Blake Lively, attached to star and produce. Tom Melia's action romantic comedy, which follows a reality TV producer stranded on a desert island with a fraudulent survival expert, showcases how even familiar concepts can find buyers when executed with a fresh perspective. What's driving the resurgence? Several converging factors explain why original scripts suddenly look attractive again. Original films are finding their audience. 2025 success stories like Weapons and Sinners prove there's real money in original content. Weapons, Zach Cregger's follow-up to Barbarian, has already crossed $100 million domestically in just 14 days. Meanwhile, Ryan Coogler's vampire thriller Sinners generated $365 million worldwide, demonstrating that original R-rated horror can compete with franchise fare. The TV pilot market has dried up, with streaming services tightening their belts and reducing scripted development. Managers are pivoting their writers toward features as the clearer path to breaking in. The broader shift in streaming priorities, with platforms leaning more heavily into unscripted programming, live events, and sports due to lower production costs, has created a talent migration back to film. Studios want production-ready material. After years of throwing money at everything during the streaming boom, studios are getting more selective. Complete, ready-to-shoot scripts suddenly look more attractive than vague concepts requiring years of expensive development. The consolidation of studios means fewer executives developing screenplays, making polished Spec scripts particularly valuable. Franchise fatigue is real. Coughs Marvel coughs. While IP will always dominate the biggest budget slots, audiences are showing a genuine appetite for stories they don't see coming. The success of original genre films proves there's room for fresh voices alongside established properties. The broader context. This resurgence comes after a particularly brutal period for screenwriters. The 2023 WGA strike highlighted how the transition to streaming had systematically devalued writing work. Writers found themselves working for less money, on shorter orders, often separated from production. The spec market nearly disappeared as studios focused exclusively on established IP. But economic reality is forcing a recalibration. The peak TV era stretched talent pools beyond capacity and compromised Hollywood's financial stability. Major companies reported staggering losses while implementing cost reduction initiatives. In this environment, original scripts that can be produced efficiently suddenly offer compelling value propositions. What this will mean for writers. For screenwriters who've been told for years that only franchise material matters, August numbers offer legitimate optimism. The deals span multiple genres, from workplace comedy to psychological thriller to action-adventure, suggesting studios are open to various types of original content. However, it's crucial to maintain perspective. We're not returning to the 90s boom when 173 spec scripts sold in a single year. The market remains incredibly competitive, with most sales still going to established writers with representation. In 2018, only 2 of the 40 spec sales went to first-time writers. But the trajectory suggests opportunity for writers willing to craft compelling, production-ready scripts. The key is understanding that today's spec market favors complete, polished material that can move quickly into production, rather than high-concept pitches requiring extensive development. Whether this momentum continues through the rest of 2025 remains to be seen. The success of original films like Weapons and Sinners will influence studio appetites moving forward. If these films continue performing well, we could see sustained interest in original material. For screenwriters, the message is clear. Now is the time to have that spec script ready. After years of being told IP only, the industry is showing renewed hunger for original voices and fresh perspectives. The door isn't wide open, but it's creaking open wider than it has been in years. As someone who's been watching this industry's cycles for decades, I find myself cautiously optimistic about what these August numbers represent. Original storytelling has always been the lifeblood of great cinema, and seeing studios remember that fundamental truth, even if driven by economic necessity, feels like a return to something essential about why we fell in love with movies in the first place.